In this video, we're going to be breaking down the Valorant 6.08 solo carry ranked tier list. This is going to tell you the best and worst characters to play if you're trying to climb and you're trying to hard carry the worst teammates that you've ever seen. Then this is the perfect video for you, breaking down all the agents that can enable you to do so. But to guide you along, helping you climb the ranks and to improve fast, there's SkillCapped. We take the highest priority skills to climb ranks fast, such as aiming, and then break it down into a step-by-step course that's easy to understand. You not only learn the basics like crosshair placement and mastering movement, but more advanced concepts like getting multi-kills and repositioning. Now, these courses have been getting 5-star ratings from users just like you, raving about how helpful they are. And if you're looking for something more personal instead, we have our one-on-one coaching that you're gonna love in the SkillCapped Discord. All this is backed by our rank improvement guarantee, so if you don't rank up, you don't pay. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description right now and get the rank you've always deserved right now down below. Now, a couple of things that we gotta talk about before we get into the tier list itself. There's 3 things that can move a character higher up this list. Number 1 is the ability to win clutches. An agent that can help you win rounds by yourself is gonna help you win more games and carry poor teammates. We're also gonna talk about the ability for your character to get picks. If your character can get solo picks by themselves or first bloods, that's definitely gonna be pushing them up this list. And last up, the ability to do it all, or be a jack of all trades, capable of denying LOS, clearing corners, dueling enemies. If the agent can do a lot of different things and they can fill any role you need them to, then they're going to be higher on this list. Now, let's start off with the D tier. And these characters are not bad characters in the meta or in compositions, but they're a lot more team oriented and strategic oriented. You're not going to necessarily be able to hard carry nearly as much of these characters, and they're typically just a cog in a machine. And there's 2 characters, Harbor and Brimstone. Now, like I said, these characters have maps where they are legitimate meta on. Harbor for the dual controller setup a lot of the time. Brimstone's very good on maps like Fracture. But these are definitely not the characters that you would want to lock if your entire team is incapable of doing anything. Like, good luck carrying the entire game on your back with these characters. And if you can do it, then you're kind of a god already. Now we're going to move up to C tier. And these characters are still really, really good, but a lot of them either are better as cog fillers, kind of like the D tier characters, or they're going to be characters that are going to be a bit better in like duo or trio queue where you have some amount of coordination. So first off, Astra. Astra can definitely lock down a site, but a lot of the time you're going to get more value on this character synergizing with someone else. Now, next up is Sage, which is a little bit of a tricky one because I do think that you can be really crafty with this character in ranked and definitely carry a bit more than like the typical playstyle. So a more battle Sage oriented playstyle can definitely carry more than like a team oriented playstyle that is more based on strategy and fundamentals anchoring a site. But consistently, Riot has nerfed the battle Sage aspect of Sage, and it looks like they want her to play as more of a role filler sentinel rather than a dual heavy sentinel hybrid that she has been in the past. Next up, we do got Viper, a fantastic character, definitely one of the best characters that you can play in the game. But as far as just carrying an entire team on your back, I think that you can if you are someone that just gets a point and locks it down like tight. But one of the things about defense is you're going to use a lot of your utility. You're not going to necessarily have it for retake, and often a lot of your strategies on attack are going to be set executes that you're kind of just mainly enabling your team. So while Viper could definitely do things like lineups and clutch up that way, she's not very flexible in the playstyle that she can play, and she doesn't really get picks all that much. She can win clutches for sure, so she's a pretty decent character for that, but I don't think that she is gonna be the hard carry ranked solo carry god like you want her to. Next up, we do got to talk about Breach, a character that is kind of all about setting up another player or your team. A lot of your flashes and your stuns you can't even follow up yourself. You need someone else. I think this is definitely like a god at duoing or trioing for sure, but for soloing and just trying to clutch up everything yourself, it's going to be a bit difficult on Breach. And then last up is Gecko. Gecko is a lot about strategy and setting things up with your team. Sure, you can definitely go out and flash enemies and try to make plays that way, but Gecko really is going to be someone that is more on the strategic side, more on the team-oriented side. And there are other characters that kind of do what Gecko does, but better for the chaotic nature of ranked, especially if you're trying to hard carry. And we'll talk about those characters a little bit later, but still, Gecko's a fine character and can still carry you games if you become really good at him. Now we're moving on to the B tier, and these are characters that if you master them, or you're just better, like you're just straight up better, you can really just hard carry a game by yourself, either because the characters are powerful or they have the means to get you picks or one of the 3 categories that we talked about. First off is Chamber, definitely a rather weak character in the meta, but when we talk about ranked, being able to have an ult on an operator and being able to whip out a weapon that you can buy is just amazing. I mean, you just get a lot of value that way, and Chamber could even be higher up on this list because if you're a super or god aimer, you can get picks and you can win clutches with Chamber for sure. I think other characters can do it a little bit better and are a little bit stronger in the meta, but Chamber is, you know, just kind of a one-trick pony in that he's not really great on the strategic side right now, but for just kind of flexing your mechanical muscles, he's like no one else. Killjoy, another character that can definitely just clutch up. You're not necessarily going to be able to just generate picks with this character, but your ability to clutch up a situation, because you have all this utility that can help you in a 1v2, which is fantastic, even in a situation where you're trying to retake. And of course, you do have the ability to do a lot of things, so I'm giving Killjoy extra props for being a bit flexible, but of course, you're not going to necessarily be able to get entry picks all the time. You're a little bit more situational to defense, unfortunately, so some games are going to feel a little bit miserable if the defense didn't go well, or they're not even pushing into you, even though you're like solo holding a site and your team keeps losing. It can definitely be frustrating, but Killjoy is one of the most powerful characters from a top-down meta, and that does translate a little bit to just climbing in ranked, of course. Now, Cypher is one character that I'm kind of putting neck and neck with Killjoy. Sure, Killjoy is better in the overall meta, but Cypher's still fantastic, especially if we're talking about solo carrying. Being able to get a lot of free value, I think, is a bit underrated. When you come onto a site, you can kind of slowly block off certain parts of the site, and with trips, you get more information about how you're going to clutch. Between that and the cam, I think Cypher's really good in a 1v1 clutch. Your ultimate's really good in clutches as well. Kind of in the same ballpark as far as solo carrying in ranked is concerned, even though Killjoy, like I said, is obviously more powerful relative to pick rate. When we talk about the overarching meta, that doesn't really matter for the chaotic nature of ranked. Next off, we do got to talk about Fade. Fade is really great. Ultimate is great for retaking point. Your dogs are going to give you much needed information and can help you fight duels, which is great as well. And you do have extra bits of information. I think that Fade is actually an underrated character to just play in ranked. Really good at clearing out cubbies, makes it so you don't need to rely on your team nearly as much. But unlike some of the other initiators that do have more proactive ways to take duels, Fade falls a little bit behind those characters. I think a bit better to play Fade with someone else on your team that you can rely on in like a duo queue. And I think naturally Fade just plays a little bit better with coordination as well. Now, Neon is at the top of B tier. You could justify Neon probably in A, because Neon could just be like a ranked god, running it down, killing people like crazy, getting these crazy eco rounds with your mobility, especially if you master the movement on Neon. You can get a lot of value out of some cheap weaponry. All great stuff, but I think that Neon plays the best when you're being set up by another person, right? If we think about a character like Breach on maps like Fracture, Neon is going to have a hard time entering alone, but if you have that Breach with you to set you up or another initiator, then you can kind of go nuts. So like I said, with a duo, I think Neon is probably A, high A, but as a solo, probably the very, very top of B, maybe low A. Let me know down below if you agree or disagree with that placement. Now let's talk about A tier. And now we're cooking with characters that have the means to just win clutches, get picks, start off a fight, or they can do a lot of different things, so you can be flexible on these characters. First off is Sova. Sova, of course, we know how good Sova is at clearing angles, entering onto your team, but Sova can clutch up as well. You have an ultimate that gives you great post plant lineups that you can learn that can help you with the post plant or even denying the spike itself. And because Recon Arrow comes on a cooldown, oftentimes it can be a fantastic ability to use to clutch up like a 1-on-1 or a 1v2, being able to play cover, play around your cooldowns, dart up high, and put the enemies in a situation where they have to contest you and your dart. It's just really strong what you can pull off with Sova in a clutch. And I think also there are some maps on Sova that you get extra value with wallbang ability, with an Odin, for instance, on maps like Haven or maps like Ascent. And all around, Sova is kind of like that perfect mixture of a character that can help your team with the strategic side, but also take matters into your own hands. Now, similar to that, we have Omen, which kind of is the do-it-all controller, right? If we compare him to the other controllers that most of their abilities are reactive, Omen has both reactive smokes that he can use and proactive abilities like teleport and his paranoia that he can use to enable himself. So you can get really aggressive with this character. You can lurk and make value lurk plays that are super strong. You can also play the strategic side. So he gets extra value for being that do-it-all controller. Take matters into your own hands, win clutches, and you have the means to do so, and you have the ability to to do it all. Maybe not the ability to get picks in the same way other characters can, but it's still a fantastic character and one of the best characters to climb solo and ranked in my personal opinion. Next off, we do got to talk about Reyna. Now, everyone knows about Reyna, how this character is not very good from a pro meta point of view, but when we go into ranked and we go into what Reyna can pull off, this character wins clutches and this character gets picks. That's what this character does. You get a kill, you get to get full armor, full health, and you get to trade up a weapon, or maybe you just get to keep that momentum going. You oftentimes will not get traded, which is a really, really amazing thing for trying to solo carry a game. And like I said, being able to win clutches with those flashes that help your team going in, creating that momentum. Reyna is just kind of the god at dominating a ranked game, especially if you're the best player in the lobby, you can take it over with Reyna. So I gotta give extra props to Reyna. Now, unfortunately, that ability to do it all section, Reyna can't really do it all. Like, she can do a lot with her flash, but besides that, you don't have a lot of great utility on this character. So you're all inning on the solo carry side, but the thing that you're really wanting to look for in ranked is sometimes when you have a team that is working well with you, you play the strategic side, but then other times when you have to take matters into your own hands, you can. But with Reyna, oftentimes you are forcing yourself to always take matters into your own hands because you're lacking the utility to help the team win strategically. Now, another character that can kind of do the same thing, but a little bit better strategically is Raze. Raze is fantastic. Just if you master the movement on this character, you certainly can make some amazing entries onto a site, create a ton of space for your team. You have the ability to duel with great mobility yourself, and you have an ultimate that can get picks as well. I think this character is kind of the full package, strategy and the ability to win clutches and get picks and just apply a ton of pressure. The only reason that Raze is not higher up, because I think that Raze could even be the best character to solo carry, climb, and rank, is that recent nerf to the drone on Raze. That doesn't provide as much information as it did before, and that used to be so freaking strong. Now it's still good, but not nearly as strong as it was before, so she does get knocked down a little bit here and there. Last up in the A tier at the very top, almost put it in the S, Yoru. Now in our previous tier list, we put Yoru really low because Yoru doesn't see any pro play, but in ranked, this character is unlocked. This character can do so much. Not only can you entry yourself onto site, you have the ability to get kills and run away. You can flash your team, take angles, and being able to put yourself onto site and lurk and set up entry plays. There's just like so much potential with this character. Just a crazy amount to win clutches, get picks, and you have a lot of utility that can even help your team as well. I think that really the only thing holding Yoru back most of the time is the user. That's really what it is. Yoru is not easy to understand. You have to know how to set up this character. You have to really think about how you're going to go about clutching around and how you're going to play it. A lot less straightforward than some of the other duelists like Reyna, and I think that Yoru requires really great aim, a really great understanding of where enemies are, understanding of the positioning of your teammates relative to the enemies. There's just a lot, and Yoru is hard, like really hard to learn, almost to the point where you have to spend the majority of your time just grinding and learning this character, because sky's the limit once you master him. But until you do, there's a lot of other characters that can most likely do what you're trying to do better, but once you unlock what this character is capable of, all of a sudden you're just solo carrying game after game after game. Now we're moving on to the S tier, the best of the best characters that have all three of these in some capacity: clutches, picks, ability to do it all, or they are super maxed out in two of these. I think that these are the best characters if you're trying to solo carry bad teammates. There's no better agent, starting off with Jett. Now it's pretty obvious Jett's the best opper. Ops just kind of take over ranked games, period. Not only that, but your daggers just allow you to just clutch up some free rounds here and there, or save money on the eco, which is great. And you can take sites aggressively, control space for your team, be that perfect entry, so you can play the strategic side. You're great at getting picks, you're great at winning clutches, and you can help your team with these smokes, allowing you to try to make a diffuse play, deny line of sight of certain angles, and of course allow you to entry better. Jett is kind of like that all-in-one package where a great Jett can really just take over a game as long as you're willing to adapt your playstyle relative to what your team is trying to do or not do. Now, next off in the S tier is Phoenix, another character that we put really low in the previous tier list, but for ranked, Phoenix becomes amazing. Riot themselves have said that Phoenix has some of the highest win rates across the ranks, even in the highest ranks of play, and the reason is Phoenix is that jack of all trades. You can flash, you have a wall, so you can force onto a site even without a controller. You have Molly that can deny angles angles and clear cubbies that you don't have to clear yourself, and you have your ultimate that is a great initiating tool to take site control. All of these things are fantastic, but it's almost like you're taking a little bit of a lot of different characters and smashing it into one. And when we think about pro play, that's not really what you want. You would rather have characters with more specialty as a cog in a machine that is a well-oiled machine, right? But in ranked, you have no idea if the tire's broken or, you know, the steering wheel's off, or, you know, everyone is doing their own thing. No one is doing their job right, and Phoenix can kind of come in and be that stabilizing force. It's like, I'm gonna freaking take this angle, I'm gonna duel this person, I'm going to entry us onto site, I'm going to do all these things, and you can just do it all yourself, which is just really, really great. And for a lot of the reasons that Phoenix is bad in pro play, he's amazing as a solo carry god in ranked play. So yeah, he definitely deserves this spot. Next off, for a lot of the same reasons, we have Skye. Skye can gather that info, Skye can take 1v1s, Skye can enable your team with dog and being able to heal up your team, and your ultimate is a great initiation tool as well. Skye kind of loses a little bit of the offensive power that Phoenix has, but trades that for extra bits of information, both with your dog that can help your team and with your bird that can gather extra information, in addition to be used as a flash if you're trying to make plays as well, especially if you get crafty with flying it around and playing around with the timer. I think that Skye just fills that perfect category. Yes, you can win clutches. Yes, you can get picks, but most importantly, you can do it all in this character. Having elements of initiator, a duelist, and being able to strategically help your team or hard carry in different situations, Skye is that perfect character to master, where it wouldn't be out of place for you to top frag one game, or maybe be that silent person that is just enabling your team on the strategic side the next. Skye is fantastic. Only second to the top of the S tier, which is KO. Not only is KO just a fantastic character, period, even in pro meta, but KO is that character that kind of does many of the things that Phoenix can do, but to a slightly higher level. Being able to flash yourself or your team, which allows you to take aggressive duels and clutches and get picks yourself, but can also be used to enable your team in a way that Phoenix cannot. You have an ultimate that perhaps is the best out of Phoenix's ult and Skye's ult for taking site control, especially in the meta up against Killjoy. You have your knife for information or playmaking, and you have a really, really great molly that can clear out certain corridors, similar to Phoenix, but a bit better. I think that KO kind of brings everything together about both Skye and Phoenix, and can do it all, can clutch up, can get picks, is kind of this all-in-one package that I think fits in any composition as well. This is why KO is undoubtedly the best character to solo carry. Never gonna be a bad pick, always gonna be a character that can either help your team or dominate yourself. You could easily top frag on this character or just silently play that strategic role. Really, really great stuff, and I think that these are the best characters if you really want to solo carry and climb. Now, definitely let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my picks in the comments down below, and make sure to check out SkillCapped right now for the highest quality guides you'll find anywhere else. But what are you waiting for? Improve at a dramatic rate as quickly as possible. Check it out right now down below.